Peace, love, and light. I am Damri Alma-Abe. This is EdenRose, and EdenRose is a way of life. I'm here today to do the daily divine message. I am going to I actually pulled a card earlier, and I came on live earlier, but my phone overheated and nothing was saved. So I decided to come on again. I'm going to use the same cards, but I'm also going to add on to it. So I'm going to shuffle. This is it. One, and choose one more card. Oh, wow. So, two messages here. This is about honoring the purity of yourself, honoring that essence that is, your most unique and perhaps even vulnerable space within you. It's about protecting and guarding the divine feminine energy within you. Now, I'm not just speaking to women. Peace. I'm not just speaking to women. I'm speaking to that energy within all of us, whether or not you're male or female. I'm speaking to that creative energy within all of us. And so when I talk about the divine feminine, I am not speaking about a particular sex. I'm speaking about an energy. So the card that was pulled earlier was the Nectar. And the card that was pulled just now was the Maiden. And if you notice, they're both perfectly aligned as far as color and to be honest, I'm feeling them as almost one and the same, or the energy between these two cards are very interchangeable, and they kind of flow into one another, if that makes sense. Not just in color, but also in the fact that there is this unique, gentle space within each person, that inner child kind of zone. That's the energy that we're dealing with right now, and being able to mother the inner child, being able to step into a position of power when it comes to guiding yourself, stepping into a position of I guess it's really just seeing the duality within yourself, and recognizing that you have the part of you that's learning and you have the part of you that knows. And it's the message of today is really just to make sure that you're honoring both aspects and coaching yourself internally. So your internal conversation between the part of you that is, knowing and or knowledgeable, I should say, and the part of you that still needs, I don't want to use the word coddling, but that's what I'm being guided toward using, is coddling. That part of you, that inner child part of you that needs to be nourished, that needs to be, taken care of, that needs to be loved, truly is what it is. That part of you that needs to be loved is an important part. Many times, people don't necessarily treat themselves with ease and with kindness and with patience. And you're being asked today to please step back into the realm of being patient with yourself and being all right with being where you are, regardless of whether or not you're where you want to be, or on your way, or totally away, far from it, separated or removed from it. Regardless of what stage in your life you're at right now, you're being asked to please be a little bit easier on yourself as far as that process of learning goes. If you're really wanting to shift and change and be a different person, or have different things manifest for yourself, it's important to practice patience. It's important to practice forgiveness and that energy of ease where and unconditional love, where regardless of what your choice is, regardless of what you decide, regardless of where you take your life, you're still going to be, or you're still going to have a space that is open and receiving, as far as you being able to be yourself in that space. That space will always be there for you to be able to be yourself comfortably and openly and without judgment or ridicule. So this is about creating that space for yourself, not waiting for the world to create a space for you or waiting for people to create a space for you where you feel like you can step forward and be yourself, but you creating a space for yourself internally that you can be that self. And what happens when you start to do that is the more you practice being yourself, the more you create space for yourself to be your true self. Whether it could be in solitude. It doesn't mean that you have to share it with anybody. It could just be that you spend time, in your own physical space, truly being you, but consciously making space and time, setting space and time for yourself to be your truest self. I feel like I'm saying self 1,000 times, but that's what the message is. It's about creating space for you to be you, especially if you don't have that space or you feel as though you can't truly be you in the different realms of your life. It's important to be true to that energy. And if you're already doing that, fantastic. But it's time to really maybe revamp or go inside and truly apply a little bit more compassion in certain areas. You might be someone who's very hard on themselves, or someone who whose expectations of themselves is very high. And although you should never lower those expectations, it's also important to recognize that the positive reinforcement that you receive is coming from you. You're still receiving that positive aspect of recognizing that you put effort towards whatever it is you're putting effort towards, forgiving yourself for when you don't necessarily put that effort in, or forgiving yourself for making a mistake, for instance. Whatever the circumstances, it's just allowing you to always have a second chance, always try again, because the truth is that as long as you're trying and putting effort consciously towards something, it's going to eventually manifest for you. But the truth is you're trying and your effort really has to be. It can't be a half-assed effort. This is, actual action, taking action and doing things in the world. But this message today is truly about just making sure that you are creating space for yourself to really shine. To shine that best part that is you, to shine that spark, that uniqueness that is you. It's time to create space for yourself to shine light on that. And maybe shining light on it is discovering it. Maybe shining light on it is having conversations. Maybe shining light on it is whatever that means for you. It's different for everybody. But, maybe creating space for it is just having internal not internal, but quiet time to yourself. Maybe that's what it is as well. Either way, it doesn't matter. What you're being asked to do today is to create that space for yourself. Be a little bit easier on yourself and coach yourself the way, coach yourself and have conversations with yourself internally the way that a caring mother or parent would speak to their child if they're having some sort of difficulty. It's about being the parent and the child and recognizing that you have both within you and actively, intentionally receiving from both positions, offering, it's like soothing yourself, offering yourself remedy, even if it's just, it's okay, you tried and it's okay. It might sound crazy to talk to yourself internally, but if there isn't soothing, if there isn't remedy from outside of you, the next best place, as far as I'm concerned, is within. In fact, I would go within before I even look for the remedy from without. That's just how I work personally. So this is this is actually a very strong message and an important one. And it's crazy the type, like this message came out earlier and I gave this reading and it was a long reading. And then my phone overheated and it just all went to crap and I never got to save it. And now I was going to just read this card again, and something told me when I started to pull another card, and in conjunction, now I understand why that reading was what we were going with, but there was another energy that was involved in the actual message that was supposed to be delivered today. So I'm really glad that things happened the way that it did, and because it's really about being your own coach, being your own cheerleader, becoming your own parent, your own mother. Recognizing that mothering energy is within you, regardless of whether or not you're a man or a woman. You have that ability to mother yourself internally, to check on your inner child and say, hey, like, are you all right? It's going to be okay. Don't be afraid. Everything's going to be fine. I have things under control. I'm going to be making decisions for us in ways that are going to be beneficial, and trusting that, it's soothing yourself, self-soothing. It's a strange internal game that most people don't always feel comfortable doing, but it's most certainly necessary when there's healing that needs to be had. So I will that you receive this message with love and with clarity. I will that this brings you some level of peace and a greater understanding of yourself and of the world. And with that, I will say peace and love. Ashe.